Hello, I'm Fast Lawyer. Today we are going to review Now Owl: The Lost Eye VR, a game released on the Steam store February 25th, 2021 by developer Studio Gamebit, a Turkish game developer. It released on the Steam store for the HTC Vive, Valve Index, and the Oculus Rift. It released out in early access. It's available for the normal price of $24.99. It's currently on a release sale, 10% off. I got a free Steam key through the Steam Creator Connect program to review this game. I tested this game out on the Oculus Quest 2 using the Oculus Link cable. So I really love playing Now Owl: The Lost Eye, and I do recommend it. However, I also was very frustrated at during different times of playing this game. Keep in mind, this game is in early access, but I'll tell you right now, straight off the bat, it was very buggy for me. I experienced lots of bugs while playing this game, and I was able to beat the game. It took me about 10 hours to do so. Now, the developer does say it takes about 7 hours to beat the game, so I do know that the bugs extended my gameplay, but I also don't think it took me an extra 3 hours because of the bugs. So what I can say for now is that only 1% of Steam users have beaten the game, because I got an achievement for beating and only 1% of Steam users have it. So yes, I'm doing a full review for Now The Lost Eye, and I'm also showing extended gameplay to give you a better sense of the game. I did increase the gameplay footage speed to 125%. Anyways, let's get into the nitty-gritty details of Now The Lost Eye. Now The Lost Eye VR is running on the Unity engine. On my RTX 3080, I was getting variable frame rates from 90 frames per second to 75 frames per second. This was on high graphical settings. There is an ultra graphical settings option. I did not try that because of the variable frame rates that I was getting just on high settings. I will note that the developer has said they updated the game engine. I saw the update this morning, but that was after I had already finished playing the game, so I cannot confirm whether this update would have fixed my issues with the frame rates. The developer also mentioned they fixed some of the issues that I brought up on the Steam community forums. So far the developer has been very active, very responsive, and that's good to see for a game released out in early access. I hope the developer continues this trend for an extended amount of time, being active in the forums and addressing issues as they come up. That is the purpose of early access, and I'm happy when I see that, but as you guys know, that doesn't always happen, and sometimes after a few months the updates and the responses stop happening. Let's hope that doesn't happen with this game, because I really like Now The Lost Eye VR. I would describe Now The Lost Eye as a casual action adventure game. You do have full locomotion and smooth and snap turning options, as well as some comfort options. Now by default this blink option was on. I had to turn that off. The problem with that is that it would automatically turn on after every loading screen or after every restart. It would show as off, but it would still be on. I did report this bug to the developer, and I'm happy to say the developer says that issue has been fixed, but I really don't like the blink option. It does a black screen basically every time that you turn. For a VR veteran like me, I don't want that on. There is a story here, but it is told through cinematic scenes and also through environmental storytelling. Outside of those cinematic scenes, I don't recall seeing any text or any other voiceovers. So the story really isn't the focus of the game. It's more focused on exploration, but there is enough of a story there to give you a reason to do what you're doing, and it does tie in the actions together. I did like the quality of the cinematic scenes. They're done very well. I did like the visuals. I did like the art style. These obviously aren't the best graphics in VR that you'll see, but I did like the variety of the environments and the way the worlds were put together. Very nice job here. And I did like the musical soundtrack. Now the sounds of the game could have been better, but overall still a decent job. I would have preferred spatial audio so I could tell where enemies were coming from. That's the one thing that really could be improved in this game, is 3D audio. As far as the gameplay, I did enjoy the boss fights. That was the best part of this game. However, some of the other gameplay mechanics were just too simple. In particular, the core combat here was not that immersive, not that engaging. It was just a little bit too simple, and fighting the trash mobs on the way to the boss fights just wasn't as fun as it should have been. Some parts were better than others, but overall it was just severely lacking, and I think that's one place where this game really needs to be improved in order for it to be considered among the best in VR experiences. And while I did enjoy the boss fights, it does feel like some weapons were way overpowered and made the boss fights trivial, whereas some of the other weapons that weren't as good made the boss fights feel epic and challenging. In particular, the boomerang and also the flower gun made the boss fights just too easy. They are just so much better than the other weapons. There's also some puzzles and some platforming sections. This is very light platforming and very casual style puzzles, which is fine for a game of this type. The one thing that can really be improved is the climbing mechanic. It just lacks the polish and it was very inconsistent at times. I did report this to the dev that in some areas you just couldn't grab on to the climbable objects. And I have no problems with the casual style level difficulty of these puzzles, but I do think they're repeated just a bit too much towards the end of the game, where you're repeating the same puzzle that really doesn't increase in difficulty. It just gets more tedious because you're doing it over and over again. So there could definitely be some improvement in the puzzle with a little bit more depth added to it so it doesn't feel so repetitious. As far as gameplay design, I also think this game would be better without the weapon damage mechanic that's in there currently. You're supposed to find these cubes to get new weapons. The problem is that you're wasting a lot of your time breaking down these crates to get the blue cube currency to buy a weapon, and then it breaks and then you gotta spend even more cubes, so you're wasting more of your time breaking down these crates, breaking down whatever is in the environment, because you need these blue cubes currency just to restock your weapons that just broke. The problem is that breaking down crates is really not fun, especially when it takes 2 or 3 hits to break these crates. You're wasting a lot of time. It's just not fun. It really messes up the rhythm of the game. And it's no exaggeration to say this, but I think I spent at least 2 hours, if not 3 hours, breaking down crates. That's not good. And as I mentioned, I experienced several bugs while playing this game. I'm not going to mention them all. I think I've mentioned all the big ones. There is one more that's pretty big that I should mention. I did experience a hitbox detection, a hit registration issue, and it's very noticeable on the boss fights. If you look closely in this video at the boss fight, you'll see several times where I shot an arrow and it just went straight through the boss versus registering a hit. That's a pretty big issue. I know there's phases of the boss fight where it seems like the boss can't take any damage, but this is more than that. This is during normal phases of the boss fight where it should be taking damage, but then the arrow just goes right through the boss and it shouldn't happen. I did make a post on the Steam community forums where I mentioned all the bugs I experienced during my gameplay, so if you want to know more about bugs, you can read more about them there. Despite all the bugs I encountered playing this game, despite all the frustrating experiences, despite some of the gameplay design choices that were made in this game that I think could be improved a lot with a little bit more depth, a little bit more thought put into it, I still enjoyed Naoh the Lost Die VR immensely. This is a really good game, as is. As you guys know, I don't rate games based on potential. I rate the game that I played. So even though there are issues in this game, overall, I still enjoyed this game a lot and I do recommend it. It is one of the better VR experiences. It wouldn't make my top 25 list or anything like that currently. It would need lots of improvement. It is in early access, so it definitely has potential to be there at the end of the development cycle, but for right now, it's still a pretty good game that I recommend. And if I have to rate it, I would give it a 7 out of 10. It's a solid VR experience that could be so much better with some polish and some refinement of the gameplay. Anyways, I'm Fast Lawyer. If you liked my review, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, have a wonderful day and enjoy the rest of the video. I'm showing extended gameplay for your benefit.